Go check. Sorry about the silence. For some reason my mic was not selected. It defaulted to default, which is funny because it's supposed to default to like, a microphone, and I only have one plugged in. So why it doesn't just default to the working microphone, I don't understand, but okay. You're good to go now. Make sure it's working. Go check. Sorry about the silence. Yep, okay, it's working. So I'm gonna leave that up, so I can see. Pop out chat. There we go. Okay. Now I am fully ready streaming. Okay, so I've been asking you guys wanted to stream, and I got I got like just like a totally honest answer from like one dude who said I don't really have time for streams, but it sounds like it could be a fun idea. So then like no one else even voted. So like that's not a no if you don't vote. That's a I don't know. So I'm hoping people decide. Now that was just on DeviantArt. DeviantArt usually I only have like 4 to 5 people voting in polls and stuff, which I want to get more people doing that because that's where it's more fun for me. Is going off of like drawing stuff prompted by my followers. I think that's a really fun idea, and I want more people to do it. But today I'm going to be doing just a little bit of doodling. If any of you have questions about my art, characters, comics, novels, whatever, it could even be like just non-related stuff, and I will do my best to answer it. Now today, what I've got here is a little doodle of Stella, which is one of my OC characters that I just draw for fun, and first I hand draw it. I don't have a really good way of capturing hand drawing. Excuse me. I don't really have a way of capturing the hand drawing, so I just do it beforehand and just send it to myself on Discord and copy the image, slap it in here, and then I just digitally draw over it. Now to help me see the lines actually to make it more distinct, I'm going to do this up the contrast and brightness just so I can see the lines better. And I turn the opacity down to 200. If the best thing I could say that if you're trying to do it this way is make sure you have the layer of your base image slightly transparent, because there's been a lot of times where I've been drawing for approximately, let's just say 30 minutes, and all of a sudden I hide the reference image layer, like the sticky note drawing. I hide this layer, and then all of a sudden all the lines disappear because I've been drawing on the reference layer the entire time. So I highly recommend turning this thing's opacity down just slightly. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. It just has to be like enough where you can tell that this is the background layer. I don't want to be drawing on this because I'm going to make the background layer disappear once I'm done. So yeah, so this is the drawing I'm going to be working with. If you notice, her hand is attached. I ran out of room on the sticky note, so I just drew her hand up here, and then just whenever I pasted it in here, I just moved it over there. So yeah, like little things. What I like about doing it this way is little things like this. I think the hand is too short, so I'm going to extend it a little bit. And that may be too much. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Let me just go ahead and just extend the thumb a little bit too. If I do this, okay, I'm here, a little bit more. That looks a lot better. That looks a lot better for like the length of a hand, especially compared to the other one over here. So what I do to make all of my um characters look consistent as far as proportions go is I take the last drawing I did of them. And sometimes it's not the last one, but sometimes it's like sometimes it's two or three uh I guess in order. It depends on the pose, right? Because this is a fairly flat pose where I can get all the dimensions right. So I turn this layer, this old drawing layer, and let me go ahead and save this as 33. Takes a little while to save because I've got it all on a external drive. All right, and so what I do is from here, for this instance, I'll flip it, and I'll drag her face where her chin reaches the bottom of the reference drawing's chin. And I think that's air, so try and up to the forehead. Okay, as you can see, the mouth is a little bit lower. The eyes are also a little bit lower, so I'm going to shrink the drawing a little, or shrink the old art. Match the forehead height again. Looks like I shrunk it a bit too much, so I'm going to and match it up with the forehead again. And that is almost there. If I compare the height now, your waist is up here, hips are down here. It looks to be about the same height for the character here. So I don't make it exact, but I do try and make it as close as possible. What I've got, I think I'll slightly make the old drawing layer. Yeah, that matches much better. So now I've done this, I've got this layer 11. And what I'll do is I'll draw lines from point to point, shoulder, shoulder, and I'll just do this. That should be more around here is more realistic. Because her arm is out. That should be about her shoulder length. Get the chest length, more around that. Probably more around here for height wise, just because it's at an angle. Waist. This. I'll go ahead and do arm while I'm up here. Then the face is kind of irrelevant because I've already matched it up. I don't need to do this because I've already matched it up with the old art and the new drawing. Though I do want to do this with the hair because she is standing at an angle and it kind of looks a little weird. But yeah, anyway, then like the bottom of the waist here, or around this length, looks like. Drag it centered to make it centered. The bootay, kind of a all right here. That looks like it's here. I don't know. It's not really matching up. This angle, this pose is not really working. So let me actually do this. Going to get a slightly older art. And the only risk with using, like older art than the last one you draw, like say if you made a change in the character, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to match up with. All right, now let's match the face again. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The mouth is matched up. The eyes are pretty good matched up. The nose is matched up as well. Kind of immediately, I think that works. Height of everything seems to be matching up pretty well, considering the drawing is bent at an angle. So Yeah. So the only risk with doing this is because like if you made a change in character, which I have because you guys voted for Elise to work out, not Elise, Elise to train Stella and working out. So what the like in this drawing, like you know, she's slightly, I guess, bigger than like what she is in the previous drawing. Um, um, and yeah, like the same thing. I'm just matching up like the the width of different areas just so I can make it as consistent as possible. Um, legs. I'll just then arms. Then I'll do one outside of everything for the height to get approximately shoulder to hips height, and the legs usually I don't draw the full legs unless they're sitting down. Um so yeah, so since this drawing is older, I'm actually going to take off a little bit on the width of each area. And I'm just kind of having to eyeball it because again, I'm not using an accurate or recent drawing, having to just sort of eyeball it. Not as ideal, but it will work. Arm as well. There we go. Okay, so now I hide that layer, and from here I have to match up. Now because she's at the side angle, the dimensions are not going to match up perfectly. So, like the shoulders, for instance, the shoulders aren't going to match up at all because of this side angle she's at. But let me quick just adjust this, approximately the right height. I'm going to keep this here, but I'm not going to bother adjusting it because obviously I'm going to be drawing very differently at a side angle. So a little bit of a turn here, this down, and back a little. So then you just shed off like a good chunk of it. Again, I'm eyeballing it because it's not ideal, but like I'll take that off, that much off. I'll do this. Move the waist indicator here. Another chunk off. I try and get approximately the same amount. Lower waist around here. Here, and again I'll take that off. The booty. This around here. Now I guess I might need to make her a bit taller. Match up with. But she doesn't look like too off model here. She's sized for this. And again, off of the legs. Here. And in this case, I won't really need it because the other leg is filled by the right leg. Arm. Give it a little bit more. All right. So I have what I need. I have what I oh yeah, let me. So now I have what I need. Let me do another line real quick of the head length. And that is including the hair. And again, because that's side angle. All right, so I have what I need. What I typically do for a character drawing of this size, I typically go from either 40 or 35 or width, I guess. I think for this, because it zoomed out a good bit, I think I am going to go for 35 instead. So I'll just start from the top and work my way down. Not exactly very sharp, the edges of the lines and everything. I'm doing art. I drew the base image. So I have made the base image which I am drawing. Essentially, I'm tracing my own work. Back. See if I can cover it real quick. How would it look? Kind of the fun part of art is speculating and sort of seeing what works and what. I think that works. She doesn't look too hunchback. Back. I also have pretty steady hands. A lot of people can't do the mouse painting where you just do like this. But I've decent steady hands. And for the record, I have done like touchscreen drawing, like with a not a drawing pad. I did get a drawing pad, and I tried it, didn't like it at all. But I got a Surface Pro as well. I've been using that quite a bit to make art, but I found that I prefer still just using the mouse. I prefer to use mouse and keyboard, and it's because the I guess I've gotten so used to it that I just better with what I'm doing here. So let's go. Again, just trying to work my way from top to bottom as I go. How this turns out. The hands are still like one of the more difficult things to draw for me. I've gotten a lot better at it. Consistently I can do it pretty well now. But still every now and then they give me trouble. I have to draw them a certain way. That I can be consistent and reaching out pose. I have to, look up a reference. And that's a lot of what I do with like social media, Instagram, Twitter, anything where people post art. Like I love scrolling down my feed and finding good reference art and trying to gather as much stuff that I'm overall weak in, like hands, and expanding my ability to draw them with the people I follow, people I see on the search page, and yeah, and it's helped out a lot. Without a There's the bag of food, the fast food bag. She is working, by the way, in this image. I didn't really explain what this image is. She is working at her job at Rocket Burger. Rocket Burger is something I'm sure like already exists. Either not, maybe not in real life, but maybe in like some kind of a cartoon parody brand of Burger King or something. I feel like it has to exist, right? I feel like it just has to. No way it doesn't. Such a good name, Rocket Burger. I wanted it to have sort of a 60s uh diner uh burger joint bar type thing theme to it. And because Stella's like Stella is her design, especially her hair, is like based off of like almost like Jetsons futuristic um type of aesthetic. Um what people thought the future would look like in uh 60s, 70s, stuff like that. I tried to kind of make her look like that, and I think I succeeded, especially with the little dress for the uniform as well. I think I got that. So from here, it'll go like this. A little bit more. Typically, I've found it looks better if you add a little bit of a curve instead of just like a flat line from one part of the body to another. I used to do flat lines, and it didn't really look all that, I guess realistic's not really the word I'm going for, because obviously my stuff doesn't look realistic. Um More so, um I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it looks a little more natural, I guess, if anything. Um Instead of having it just be like a flat edge that just joins with another. That makes it look like a box or a machine. You want, like, if you're drawing a person, uh flesh is not solid, right? Flesh is soft. So, or even if you're a bodybuilder, right, and you're chiseled out, there's still like a certain roundness, like skin. Like your abs aren't perfect squares. Leg, I won't even do that leg because I gotta do outline. Uh, and yeah, for a work uniform, that skirt is way too small. Kind of the joke of it. All right, now I'm working on inner, and usually just instinctively, whenever I start working on the inner layer, I I start from the bottom, since most of the time I end up at the bottom. Sort of instinct for me to start where I left off. And I work my way back up. That's the leg. Now add a line like this later on when I get another layer. I used to do this. It was just a single line that just went across here. But again, it just sort of comes to a sharp point here, and I don't think it looks as good. Oh yeah, I guess at this point I hide this guide, the proportions guide. So I've started doing this instead, and doing like meeting it halfway, and then sort of trying to make the line curve naturally with like this part, the outer layer that curves in. It makes it look a bit more natural instead of just abruptly taking a sharp turn. Because it's like comparison. It's like a road, right? Whenever you're whenever you're driving, you don't want to turn to be super sharp. That's where you get those signs that say speed 20 miles per hour while you're taking this turn. Like that. Those are always like, you have to slow down, otherwise you're going to end up in a ditch. And so that's sort of how like I look at this, is that be jarring instead of a natural flow to it, a natural drive, so to speak. Um, Natural with that. Fingers can be difficult as well, not just like the shape of the hand, but like the shape of the finger as well. But I found that if I start with the bottom hand, bottom finger, excuse me, and work my way up, I can shave the top of the line here, round it off. Uh, and make it so much easier on myself. Because now I'm really only having to do uh, this bit up here. I'm looking. Go back and shave off a little bit here. Outer layer. Back to inner. And voila. Boom. There we go. So that's the hand being put down on the countertop that I'm going to draw. I'll actually start up here. Working down often is like a lot better for arms and stuff like that because you have these little creases that I like to draw. Again, it makes it feel more natural. There we go. Back up here. Again, trying to round off that corner. Good. How wide is the arm? Pretty decent. And again, because of the little bit of extra work I did before starting to, digitally draw over my stuff, because I did that, I don't really have to worry about the performance matching. I can stay consistent. And I'm not gonna say I do it for every single drawing. Sometimes I eyeball it. Whenever I'm doing my comic stuff, I draw the same character so many times in a row that I kind of just naturally get a feel for how how they should look, and I don't have to do that every time. Um, but yeah, sometimes like for instance with this, or like where I'm just doing fun OCs, draw and stuff like that. Sometimes I draw one OC more than the other for a certain amount of time, and then when I go back to drawing one that I haven't drawn in like a few days, um, like for instance, in case Stella, I might not have in mind exactly how this OC is supposed to be drawn. So it's good to go back um and remember, like not just remember but like visually exactly to the pixel get the dimensions. I don't know, I just think it makes my stuff look much more consistent. It makes my stuff look much more um uh I guess natural, I guess is the word I'm going to use again. um it's like I don't just make the OCs, I also make little not really stories but little tiny developments, I guess, for the characters. Um, like each one of them has like a certain personality, a certain hobby, a certain job, a certain dream, certain fashion sense, and that I think having actual character to your characters will obviously make people want to follow them more, want to see what happens next, and thus they'll follow. Excuse me, they'll follow you, your social media accounts more, and yeah, that's kind of the goal, right? Get more followers so I can get more eyes on my comic projects and stuff like that. Where that could go. Sometimes that happens where my mouse wheel um will get stuck in between going up or down, and it'll. Okay, so we've made it back to the head now. We've started from the top, worked our way down with the outer layer, then we started from the bottom. Now we're here. Old Drake song. Apparently his new album is terrible. My brother was showing me that. By the way, my brother is doing good. Um, doing very good this week. Much lighter week as far as chemo goes. So feeling fresh, able to do things that he hasn't been able last week. So now he's feeling much better this week. And then next week as well is another light week. So he is doing great. And even during the hard week, the heavy week last week, even during that, he was doing much better than his first of chemo. He's I think he's getting more used to as far as like his body goes. And that's allowing him, not be so sick all the time. Like obviously he is. Obviously he doesn't feel great. Super tired, super, drained of energy, taking lots of naps. But he's not like deathly sick from great. Um but yeah, he was showing me a clip of Drake's new album, and it's which I'm not big into hip hop anyway. I'm a metalhead. I'll always be a metalhead. Um, Started in high school and it has not left me. I don't think it ever will. But there are some hip hop songs that I do like. For instance, I love the soundtrack to Spider-Verse. I think that is definitely one of the best pop albums I've heard. And I'll call it an album because it's like it's a list of like 20 songs, and a bunch of features and everything. So it's like it's good good collection of artists and songs, and very very chill. It's almost like lo-fi beats to chill the study to. And I don't know. I like it. It's pretty good. Anyway, we've moved on to the face layer. The face layer I reserve for face, and the occasional detail, like that hair clip thing. I save that detail face layer and other things as well. This a 25 because eyebrows slightly larger at the front than they are back. Looks pretty good. Then we'll get that little smile. Happy. She enjoys her job. So it's just fast food. Fry cook. Who is it? That's Stella. That is Stella's character. Is that ultra positive, ultra bubbly, happy? That is her thing. Whereas her dorm mate Monica is always tired. Like I could do this. I could just. I probably should have done this rocket since. Um. But yeah, I mean I can use a mouse at like. I'll do that. Speaking of Monica, I'll do that for her hair because her hair, like, I had decided, like, a I wanted to do a super curly hairstyle because I've always avoided like super curly hair because it is difficult. And finally, I put out a poll. I said, do you guys want Monica to have a haircut, a new hairstyle, a new, diet differently? And the vote was yes. And so I was able to get that. I was able to style her completely different. Um but yeah, so I made her hair super fluffy, and I will use my mouse to hand draw it and do it that way because it's so much more time efficient than using the line because you can only curve the lines at 2 points, and I think that's kind of like you have 4 points to 4 joints, I'll say, to manipulate the lines curves. And I wish you could do more, but that's basically all they've got for Paint.net. So again, I just go for the hand drawing at that point. So yeah, so as you can see, like with my original drawing, I drew her head too thin, and so I expanded it, I rounded it out, and it looks so much better. Now I'm on the coloring layer, which I will, take away the background layer for. I don't need to see the background for this. I can just color it in with the paint bucket tool, select image, and this will paint on the color layer, but it's staying within the borders of the lines I've drawn. So I can do this, and let me actually pull up a old image. Oh, I forgot she's got the socks. Forgot about that. Let me go ahead and finish painting like the belt and the hair clip. Go ahead and do the skin tone. I can do that. Hair. So I need to go back. Good morning, brother. Butterbean was scared. She's a responsible dog, except when she peed on my bed. So for the stream, I have lost two. I have lost two Ethernet cables to the dog. To the dog. The dog has done it. All right. So what I'm gonna do is, since I forgot, I'm gonna come here. So again, making it natural, and also because people will love this. Whenever the thigh high socks are a little tight, a little squish, like that. Generally like that. Might be able. Oh yeah, and she Butterbean peed on my bed last night while I wasn't looking. Oh, this is great. Glad I can Glad I have to wash this now. It wasn't too long ago that I washed my bed sheets, so now I gotta do it. All right, so now let's fix this, tie this up again. Kind of do 2 lines, make the curvature look more natural. If not done, back it up. Because anytime you adjust the other joints of the line, you have to readjust the other ones. Up a little bit. Zoom and enhance. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Now let's do the other one. Good. There we go. All right. So now, red first. Then what I'll do is I'll select the red color here. Select the white. Run across like this. Butterbean. Actually, just. And then the same thing over here. And there we go. Now we've got the socks. Color in the eye. I'm back on. Now I go back to sample just a layer so I can grab the white of the eye. Here I will grab the color of pupils. This big. Have her look this way, looking at the camera. Or I can have her look this way, like she's, handing the order to someone. Yeah, I think I like that better. All right, we grab the shine. I have 2 shading layers. Shine, which is the highlight colors. And then shadows, which are the darker colors. Dang it, I messed it up. Make sure you deselect the circle you're working on, the shape you're working on, because it will do that. So then I circle over top of this, but this time I don't have it filled in. It's just the outline of the circle, and I just match it to border, darker color and the lighter color, to give it a little bit of extra oomph to the eye, to make it look a little bit more colorful, I guess. Then the shadow, I go for a lighter color on the shadow, a lighter opacity of black over the eye. Because the eye is so bright with the white, it looks very weird if you go full dark. Like if I go like this, it looks too weird. So I like to go a little bit less intense shadow. I go back to the inner layer. Once I'm done making the eye, I'll go back and I'll add this little center to the eye, and this way it gives it more directional focus of where she's looking. Most of the time I do it in the center, but if since she's looking forward, I can do this, and it makes her look like she's looking more forward. Something else I'll do as well is eyelashes. If you look at this one, she's got 2 going up like this, so I'm going to do that here. This, and I'm doing this on the outer layer because I don't want to mess up the face layer. See, I can erase this without erasing the main eye. So I can just, there we go. That's 1 lash. Now I go for the second. RPPOOP. I'm sure that means something. But until then, I'm gonna ask for you to translate. What is? This is art. What I'm doing. I'm gonna move this eyelash a little bit. Huh? Yep. Okay. So that's pretty good so far. Now, if this looks plain at the moment, it's because I haven't put on the shading, which is what I'm about to do now. So, starting again from head to toe, shadows here. You go to I like to do sample all layers and just fill in between the line I draw and the rest of the spot that I want to color in. Again, I can do it very easily here. I want to add a little bit. Pop, there we go. Now that's colored in. I'm going to do another line just because I'm not too satisfied with the shape of it. Another one. And there we go. Now her hair is shaded. For the skin, I like to do a lighter color. Like as you can see, if I go to select layer, basically the same color but slightly darker than her skin. So I can just come up here, go as high as I can, like that aren't colored. Go. Disconnected. Yay! OBS reconnected. Sorry for the brief outage that may have been experienced there. You might be looking at this saying, this red shading doesn't match the white part of the socks. Or correct. My method of fixing this is fairly simple. There we go. I like to do low tolerance for this to not make it look a little blocky. So yeah, and just that little line right there makes it look like there's some, there like whenever I guess your quad and your thigh kind of mashed together whenever your legs are bent, it makes that little crease, and that's sort of emulating that. Is that just simple shading? Again, I don't do anything complicated. I don't pretend to do anything, mind-blowing art-wise or anything like that. My style is cartoony, and cartoons usually have pretty simple graphics as far as shading goes, unless it's a 3D cartoon. Typically those have a little bit better shading because they're easier to control, because you're controlling all the lighting through like an engine as opposed to doing it by hand in 2D. If you ever wonder why there's so many 3D cartoons, that is why. The catch is it's more expensive. Obviously, whenever you have all this stuff doing automatically, someone has made it to where that can be automatics. You got to pay for that. Now I go to the freckles layer, just basically freckles. Anything else that might have been left over from a drawing, I will flip it, move the freckles in place on her face. There we go. I try and give each of my OCs something like unique, something kind of different about them. A lot of times I try and do like, some things that some people might be insecure about. Some people might be insecure about their freckles, might be insecure about having a large nose or slightly larger nose or whatever. It's always exaggerated, right? Or like a 5 head. and I like to give all my OCs something like that. So like, different people can relate to different things, and by giving all of my characters, something quirky like that, I think like these characters a little bit of themselves in it, and I like to do that kind of stuff. Gishu has like a bit of a forehead to her. Stella has freckles. Elise is 6'2". Ember is, now this one's not as relatable, but Ember is missing a hand. Stuff like that. Monica has scars from a car accident. The same one where Ember lost her hand, actually. And little things like that. Little things like that. Jenny's blind in one eye. Things that I think people, be a little insecure about, and make characters feel a little more flawed. I don't like making just perfect. Perfect. All the characters are the same. Gigantic boobs. The world's most microscopic waist. That kind of thing. Like all those characters that like people draw, and there's nothing wrong with people drawing it like that. But all those characters to me just kind of look and feel the same. Like I don't really get anything whenever I look at those characters. Whereas if a character has like a flaw, or something in perceived as a flaw, I think it makes them a bit more personal. I think it gives them a bit more personality to them. Opposed to land. Got to do the. That's good. Okay, we have done most of the shading now. I'm gonna do a little bit more shading for the shadows, shadow layer. Do a little bit here. Pop. Gradually fade out the shadow as it continues. Shirt. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so at this point, I think I am done with the shading for the shadow layer. Oh, one more thing. I like to make it have a little bit of depth. This little hair thing. Someone asked me, like, what do you call this? And I was like, I don't really know what a hairstylist would call this. I just call it a spike. I just call it a spike. I don't have a fancy name for it. I don't know if there is a fancy name for it. That's just what I call it. Stella's got a little spike of hair. And I made a post a little while ago of her getting ready in the morning, like her drying her hair and trying to get that spike up. That's another character quirk. Like, let's say if I wanted her to look excited, I could make the spike like shoot straight up, like even more so straight up. And if she's disappointed, I can make it kind of just droop down. See, that kind of thing is, I think, really good for making a character memorable and having a shtick. I like doing that kind of stuff. It's like in my comic, upcoming comic, which is soon to be kid. Yeah, that Chester character. He's got spiky blonde hair, so whenever he gets mad, his hair turns to fire. Again, that's not him literally having powers of fire. That's a personality quirk that I've drawn as a visual joke. Some people will probably say, "Oh, he has fire superpowers. That's cool." And then like they'll probably be confused why he's not using them in like a dire situation or whatever, and I'm like, a little bit of shine on the arm. Yeah. But on top of this being an art stream, feel free to ask questions about the process if you are confused. I feel like I've made it fairly easy to understand how and why I do my thing. If you have any questions, kind of tips or anything that you want, try. New Spirit Box song came out Friday the 13th. Man, it is so good. I love Spirit. They're probably my favorite modern. So unique, so different. Female vocalist, which you rarely see for a metal band. You see it for rock bands, but you just do not see it for metal bands hardly at all. I'm gonna go back and change this to a shine. It looks a little better that way. I think I am just gonna go ahead and all the way down. Up to gray. And there we go. So that's basically it for this drawing. That's it for Stella herself. Now I had to draw the rest of the background, which I don't do too much background drawings on just the OC doodles. Counter. I would just make this black. Point font. Turn off the color layer just so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Patch it up. This is another advantage of the line tool being better here than it is in Photoshop, is that you can do perfect lines for simple shapes like this. I'm going to copy this layer. I'm going to call this one at the bottom counter color. I'm just going to take the background color, this dark purple. Make it slightly dark. 30 feels good. And then I just color this in. I go pop, pop. A little bit lighter. 40, pop. Make this even lighter. 60. Say what? I'll go up to 75. Now you know what? I need to do it brighter. And then I'll merge the counter layer back down to the counter color. I'll just turn down the opacity to like 150. And there we go. She's putting her hand on a counter. I'm going to expand it a slight bit. And I think I'll do a bit more. I want to do like that's the wall where she's handing out the rectangle, go up, and there we go. He is handing the burger to someone outside. Then my little watermark, which is very basic, just goes over here. I started doing the watermark whenever I started drawing OCs. I wanted, not just OCs but fan art as well, because I wanted, just in case anyone tries to steal my art, which is very, very common, unfortunately. Especially it seems like on Facebook and Instagram, people just steal art for no credit whatsoever. And I hate it, but just in case someone wants to do it, I started putting my name on everything, and then also I started making the backgrounds a little bit less plain, because before it was just a solid color. And while I didn't have a problem with just doing that, I figured it'd be way too easy for someone to just color over the watermark if they were feeling extra malicious. And I decided to do like a gradient, and then eventually I decided, hey, let's do the lines, the sort of smear effect. Let's put that on everything. Let's put that on every single background I make, even if it's just a simple one like this with not much complexity to it. Let's just do it. Let's make this extremely hard for people to get away with stealing my art, and that's what I've done to make this part darker. Um, and so that's kind of the evolution. The reason why that's here in the first place is that something I've that just noticing now. I add a little bit of shading to. I'll do this whenever like in their hand. I'll do a little. Typically not a whole lot. But I will do it occasionally. Bag cast a slight shadow here, there. And yeah, that's all I'm really. I think I want to go back and make this shadow less. And here, there we go. So that is it. That is the drawing. Start to finish, you guys got to see the process. Things about how I do it, why I do it the way I do it, and yeah, it's fun. So I will save this. I should have saved it before. I'm trying to keep myself in a habit of saving after I finish each major layer, like the outer, the inner, the face, shadow, shine, colors. I'm trying to get in the habit of doing that. But yeah, that's basically it. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to watch more of my streams in the future, follow me. Actually, subscribe on YouTube, and hit the bell to get notified when I go live next. You can also follow me on my socials. Let me go ahead and give you that. It is https colon / link tr.ee /demonico. That is it. That will bring you to all my social medias. And you can follow my DeviantArt, where I host polls to vote, on what this character is doing, how I draw this character next, and hairstyles. It can be anything from hairstyles, fashion, what the actual character is doing in the drawing. I didn't hold one for this one, but for instance, just for Stella, maybe someone voted her to be working as a fry cook and handing off a bag of some fast food. So let's say that was the poll. This would be the drawing, right? So I've done that many times for the characters. So if you're interested in doing that, you're part of the fun. Follow me on DeviantArt. But you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. I actually do post on Reddit every now and then. Mostly to like very niche art corners. I don't like r/art. They allow AI art, and I really do not like that. I also don't like the fact that they banned me for trying to promote the GoFundMe I made for my brother. It's funny because you're not allowed to self-promote on r/art, but it's strange because whenever you post your art, you are self-promoting, right? What's the difference between me posting a link to a way to support, especially not even me in this case, but like my brother, freaking posting that link using my art as sort of an advertisement to say like, hey, if you like my art, support me. You're also supporting my brother. And for me doing that, I get banned for that, right? I get banned from r/art. And I at that point I didn't want to be part of it anyway because screw those guys. Reddit uses a thing called karma, and karma comes back to you. Let me say that. So I sincerely hope none of those guys have to deal with anything like that, such as cancer in the family. I do not want them to go through that, but karma exists. Karma is a thing, so be careful what you wish for. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Thanks so much. Till next time.